Alright, also the Warriors have been catching a lot of slander on the timeline and just the NBA world in general after their 0-2 start, most notably after their huge blowout loss to the Milwaukee Bucks on Christmas. But I'm here to say we need to be patient with the Warriors. I think a lot of people are judging this team a bit too quickly, and 2 game sample sizes are always small and unreliable. And in this case, I think there is just a lot of recency bias and quick to judge people who just want to attack Steph Curry and the former champion Golden State Warriors. And just to lay some ground rules, no matter what happens for the Warriors this season, whether they go on to win the championship or they come in last place in the Western Conference again, Steph Curry's resume isn't tarnished. He's still a 2-time MVP, he's still a 3-time champion. Nothing that he will do from here on out in his NBA career will ever take away from those things. Now, at the same time, I know a lot of people, in light of the James Harden situation, are saying that the Golden State Warriors should trade Curry or Curry should be requesting a trade, and both of those things are just so terribly not correct that he's brought 3 championships to Golden State. Golden State was the team that drafted him, gave him a chance through all of his injuries and tough times, shortcomings. They let Curry become Curry, and Curry has given back to Golden State a whole lot. Not only just with winning the 3 championships, he's also just a great guy to have as the focal point of your team, and I just don't see any reason to trade him. In my eyes, Steph Curry will forever be a Golden State Warrior. He already, like I said, he already has his ring, so has no reason to go ring chasing at the end of his career, and the Warriors have no reason to slight him in any deal that would send Curry away from Golden State. So in the end, I guess what I'm trying to get at is I would be very surprised to see Steph Curry play on literally any other team besides the Warriors for the rest of his NBA career, because that's just who he is. He is a Golden State Warrior. But getting back into this current season, I'm on record. I said that the Warriors would be one of the teams that are playing in the playing games at the end of the regular season. And again, this isn't meant to be a slight, or I don't mean that to be an early judgment either. It's just simply the fact that Klay Thompson's not going to be back this year. This is a team that has not a good roster compared to a lot of other Western Conference teams. And I just think that people might have been a bit too high on them from the start in the preseason. And for that reason, like I said, I think they could be a playoff team. I just don't know how much farther to go past that. But in light of these 2 first games of the season where they've had 2 very big blowouts, I think people are taking this recency bias a bit too far and claiming the Warriors is one of the worst teams in the league and saying that Steph Curry isn't as great as we thought he was, which is not true. Although these first 2 games have been very terrible, there are a lot of good things to look forward to, mostly in the category of positive regression. Starting with Draymond Green, he's yet to even step foot on a court and play a single second this season, and understandably, Draymond Green has not been playing his best basketball as of the last time we saw him on an NBA court. But again, you have to think back to the circumstances when he was playing at that time. He was playing with a team that had D'Angelo Russell and not a lot else as for talent and just ability to score and all that stuff that you need to be a competent NBA team. There was none of that around Draymond Green, and Draymond Green's not the type of player that's going to go out and win you a game single-handedly, much like a Steph Curry or even like a Kevin Durant could. Draymond Green, what he excels at is being a role player and glue guy, and when he has the pieces built around him, that's when he's really able to thrive and show off his skills and why he's such a valuable piece to a winning team. But obviously, last season when he played, there weren't a whole lot of those scenarios. At least now he has Curry back with him, who he can at least run some two-man games with and be able to play make with, and just having the Steph Curry gravity on the court will also be a huge help to Draymond Green, who he himself isn't a great shooter, but he is a great playmaker, and again, that gravity from Steph Curry, that I'll be getting into a little later, will also be very helpful in Draymond playmaking for others on the team who aren't as skilled at scoring as Curry is. When looking at the other starting players on this team, Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins have just been flat out terrible, to the point that it's almost laughable at how bad they are doing, and there has to be at least some sort of positive regression for them as the season goes on. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins, he's starting to look more and more like a fraud and just hasn't been able to get it done as a former number 1 overall pick. But on Kelly Oubre, he's been amazing the past couple of seasons. I mean, last year he was averaging well into the high teens in points per game with the Suns as a second, third option for that team. And now he's been thrown into Golden State, where it's definitely not as good of a scenario, but he's kind of being asked to do some more of the same and being an above average defender and a second or tertiary scoring option to Steph Curry and whoever else is on the team. And he just hasn't been producing, doing somehow worse than what Andrew Wiggins has been doing so far. From 3-point range, these guys have been awful, a combined 2 of 21 from 3 across the opening 2 games of the season, and they've also been shooting 29% and 17% from the field in general, respectively. And this is all with Steph Curry's amazing gravity that, in theory, should make it so easy for his teammates to get open looks just based off the fact that teams have to zone in on Steph Curry so much, which is what's been happening throughout the season so far. It happened multiple times, at least in the Bucks game yesterday, where Steph Curry had pretty much every single defender's eyes were on him whenever he had the ball, and there's just no way that Curry's going to be able to go out and backpack a team with that kind of defense stopping him. Even with his gravity, just these other guys just are not scoring the ball well enough to make the Golden State a formidable team. But to come to Golden State's defense a little bit more, these first 2 games have been anomalies in the sense that they've played 2 title contending teams in the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. These are 2 teams who are both up there amongst the favorites in winning the title this year. So to judge this Warriors team, who we know isn't going to be very good, to judge them off of 2 games in which they've played 2 of the top teams in the league, it just doesn't sit right with me. Obviously, I just went through a whole lot of struggles between, not having Draymond, Oubre and Wiggins playing awful, and Curry honestly not playing too well himself, but I think that's more of a factor of defenses just absolutely zoning on him. All of these things, combined with the fact that they've played 2 amazing teams, all of it just is going to add up to be a disaster no matter which marquee team we're talking about. To me, it's all clearly a ploy to just go at Steph Curry for not being able to win with not a lot of help around him. As this has been a constant topic of conversation between, looking at the greatest players of all time, between LeBron, Michael Jordan, Kobe. People love to throw Curry in there as well, especially when it comes to not playing with a lot of talent around them. And I just never really cared to get into those conversations. But at the end of the day, if this Golden State team does end up being a dud and not making it far, I do not think Curry is going to be the one to blame or have his resume tarnished because of it. Now, one very big bright spot that the Warriors have had across these 2 games is their second overall pick, James Wiseman. Someone who I, to be honest, wasn't really that high on. I thought he was going to be a fine player. I wasn't surprised to see him go 2, or I wasn't necessarily unhappy to see him go second to the Warriors, but I just never thought he quite had the potential that a lot of people were hyping him up to have. Now, with that being said, he has looked absolutely amazing across these first 2 games. I will note there's been a bit of stat padding, just because they're blowouts. Wiseman's been playing a lot of fourth quarters against second and third units, meaning that he has just had an easier access to scoring the ball and making plays, whereas in a real game flow, he wouldn't have the same opportunities. But either way, they're NBA players. Wiseman is going out there, and I don't quite want to say dominating, but as a rookie who hasn't played, real basketball since his first game of freshman year of college, seeing as he missed the rest of his freshman year and then didn't play in the preseason, this is Wiseman's first action on an NBA court in quite some time. So to come out and average 18.5 points to go with 7 rebounds and 2.5 stocks per game across these first 2 games is quite impressive, to me at least. Also, not to mention, he's getting to the foul line for 7 free throws a game, that's a number he can maintain across his entire rookie season. That would also be very impressive, as it's just, free throws are the easiest way to score points. If you can get a lot of them, it's a great skill to have, and again, just helps your team get easy points to win. So even if this season does end up being a dud, or the Warriors get bounced early in the playoffs, I think it will be very beneficial for James Wiseman to be playing with guys like Curry, Draymond Green, if Clay's ever in the building, just getting some advice from him, and just playing on a former championship team that knows how to win and can show him how to win even if they don't exactly win every single game. Because again, since the Klay Thompson injury happened, it's been for sure that this is not the Warriors' year to make noise. It's now looking more like it's going to be a gap year until Klay Thompson can come back and the entire Warriors team can get healthy, and then together they can make another push towards being a contender. Now, obviously, I've gone over a lot of points been bad things for the Warriors so far this season, but these are all things I think could be ironed out throughout this season and heading into the next one, whether it's Oubre and Wiggins just settling into their roles on this team, James Wiseman continuing to get better and progress towards being a viable NBA starter or more than that, and obviously just getting Klay Thompson back is going to be a huge help after the season. And if for some reason this team does fail expectations this year, even with how low they might be at this point, I really just don't want any Curry slander as a result of it, because he is not the one that's going to deserve it at the end of the year if that is what's going to happen. But with that being said, that is it for this video. Drop some comments down below on what you think about the Warriors so far this season and their ultimate outlook for as we progress further and further. While you're there, maybe think about hitting the like button if you enjoyed this video or enjoy this type of content. And other than that, as always, most importantly, thank you for watching.